Welcome back to another episode of Top Disc, where we compare mids, putters, approach discs, and put them all up to the test. We give them a rating. You see them 9 times being thrown across a course. You're gonna see some forehands, some backhands. Perfect way to test out some of these discs before you buy. So here's what I want you to know and what I want you to pay attention to before I start throwing this disc. This is a 4.40 2.5 on the flight ratings. So it should pretty much just fly straight and dump at the end. We're gonna see how that holds up. Let's get into this video right now. We got the Eclipse Tempo with the cool slice stamped on it. Pretty simple. Tap in for the tempo. Pretty sure I can just go straight at the tree bank on the left. A little bit of Annie, this backhand. Oh yeah. That was a smooth flight. You don't have to do much to get that tempo working for you. Doesn't get easier than that. So we've got a little hyzer shot with the tempo. Show you how it holds its stability. Ooh, we hit the bottom of the pole. Went a little deep, not too bad. You can easily tap that out for another birdie. Hole 4 here, it's about 250. The tempo, throwing on a forehand here, I could go backhand or forehand, but we're gonna go forehand. Should flip up a little bit for me. Finish right. Yep, flipped up to flat, and now it's just fading right to the basket. Pretty simple tap out. The tempo can definitely be thrown on backhand as well. It flies pretty straight for an overstable feeling disc in the hand. Got another one. Tempo, we're gonna go at it. A little bit of Annie. Just held that line. Unfortunately, we did not make it between the 2 trees here with the tempo. Ah, we missed. Let it flip up a little bit. Tempo ended up in a really good spot. This is probably the longest shot I'll take here with this tempo. Maybe let it flip up right at the basket. Hold it. Drop in. Just over the basket. So close to an ace. Tempo almost went OB. We still got the birdie with the tempo. This should be good for the tempo. Just go straight at the basket. It should pop up there a bit. Have a good look from there. Another good tempo shot. Welcome back. We just finished up 8 under through 9 holes. Pretty much what I expected out of this disc. Because if you know it, and you know how it flies, you're gonna be able to shoot pretty well. However, I started off with one of these Proton Soft Tempos. This is the first one I bought. This is a replacement for the one I lost, because when I started throwing this and I saw the flight numbers, I was thinking this is basically gonna be a zone, except it's from Axiom. And I like Axiom a lot. Basically my entire mid-range slot is just Axiom. 2 hexes, a balance, and a pyro. So I thought this would be a perfect addition whenever I was going through that kind of phase, building the bag for this season. However, those flight ratings, it's not true. So in reality, this is probably more like a 4.4 -1, 1.5 in reality. So it's actually more of a straight disc than you think. I think you need to know that before you buy a tempo. If I was Axiom, I would not have put this 4.40 2.5 because I think these are the main discs they've produced in the Glow and then the Proton Soft for last year's OTB Open. I think everybody's probably really excited about the next one that's coming out, the Coaling Tempo. It's supposed to have particle glow inside instead of the metal flake that you see in here. You're gonna have glow, which is actually pretty cool. I'm excited to see how that turns out, but it's hopefully gonna be more torque resistant. I think the closest disc that I can find to compare this to would be a Zone. Shocker. The flight numbers are very close, but if you can tell, the tempo's shallow compared to the Zone. It's noticeable when you have it in your hand. Like whenever I'm holding both of these, and maybe it's because the plastic's a little bit gummier, and whenever you're holding it, you do put a little bit of pressure on the flight plate, so it makes it feel like it's shallower. And same for backhand. But with that being said, it's still a very good disc, and I think like, who is this disc for? It actually fits pretty much anyone's bag. All the way down to a Mate 4, up to myself. In the open category, when we're throwing this, you just have to know what it's gonna do and why you're gonna bag it. So for me, I would recommend the Tempo over a Zone if you're starting off and you're learning how to throw forehands, because if you start with more understable discs, you're gonna learn a lot faster with forehands. Especially if you have a slower arm speed, the Tempo is probably gonna have the same flight that you would see a better player with a Zone have. That's the challenge though, as soon as you start to get more power, is you're gonna overpower the Tempo pretty easily. So for myself, this actually kicked out this Proton Envy when I was building my bag, because they basically have the same flight, except it's a little bit straighter and it's shallower, so I like this on backhand more than forehand. So I took out the Envy, which is kind of shocking to myself, and put the Tempo in, because for the backhand, it's pretty dead straight with a little bit of finish. And that's actually really good to have inside this. It actually kind of competes with this PA3, a lot less glide, but they have very similar flights. And so this can pretty much take the place of two different discs in my bag if I wanted to take something out and put something else in for a tournament. So that's just something good to know. I think you're gonna see Coaling do a lot of flip up shots, and very, very comfortable, anywhere from 150 to 250 with this disc, throwing it on forehand. And you can get about 300 on this with a backhand. Great disc. That was a lot of talking, but I think this disc is a unicorn. Like, I cannot tell you, there is not another disc out there that I've thrown that is similar to this flight on forehand. And I think it's got a good spot in your bag if you're looking for a disc like this. So for me, I'm gonna rate this 8.5. I'm taking a lot of points off here because of the flight ratings compared to the actual flight. These are not beat-in discs, okay? These are pretty dang good discs. I mean, you can look at the rim, there's no gouges, there's nothing in there. I haven't thrown this a ton. So it's just something to know. My concern is if I use this a ton, I'm just gonna beat this thing to hell, and I'm gonna have to buy new ones over and over again. So just something to keep in mind, but very good disc. It's gonna get an 8.5, which is an awesome score. So it's gonna slot underneath the Pyro above the PA3 so far. And I think this is gonna be a good comparison if you watch this to watch when I throw this Zone. I've aced in a tournament with this one. I bagged this all of last year, but it's on the sidelines because of this disc. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I love discs. I love throwing them, testing out so many different molds. We got a lot more to come. What do you think is the most similar disc to the Tempo? Let me know, and I'll go throw it next.